Hey there, I'm going to do a dirty pour today. Well, I'd say flip and drag maybe. That's a better term for it. Not something I typically do that often. So I wanted to give it a try. And I'm going to work with a canvas that is 16 by 20. I have push pins on the back side of it, and after I mix my colors, I'm going to put white on this. I'm going to put just regular, it's white paint in a bottle, and I've also got a bigger bottle mixed up, and it's white and Floetrol 50-50, just a 1-to-1 ratio, and that's what I'm going to do with all the colors. And then I add a little bit of water to make it the right consistency. So I bought a little set of Masters Touch. It was $11 at Hobby Lobby, and it was an 8-pack, and it's less than an ounce of each paint, and I used my coupon. But these are pearlescent. And I don't know that they have the individual colors. Like here's a tube of Masters Touch that comes from Hobby Lobby. It's $4 and it's 4 ounces. So it's the equivalency of 2 craft bottles that are usually 2 ounces each. So, but it's a thicker paint, and it's a better grade of paint as far as more of an artist grade. So they have some pearlescents in a little sample pack. So I've got yellow, and it's definitely got a shimmer to it. It's like a pearly shimmer. There's orange. They call it green. I call it more of a lime green. They call this rose, but I call it hot pink. And purple. I don't know if it shows the shimmer in the lighting or not, but and blue. And this was a white pearl color. They also had the black. They just call it pearlescent black. I'm going to save this for another project. But like I said, these are like less than an ounce. They're 0.7 ounces. So I'm going to put this aside for another project. And I like these colors. I want it to be like real springy and cheerful colored. But I wanted to use Viridian, which is a really neat color that's like a pale turquoise or whatever. And it's not pearly, it's regular. So I have some Liquitex Iridescent Medium that I had gotten in the past. And I'm going to add this. And I don't know. It doesn't tell you how much to do. It just says you can thin it with water up to 30%. So I'm going to put in probably almost as much as there is paint as the Iridescent Medium, which is the pearly look. And that doesn't look shimmery, so I'm going to add more. So we're going to probably obviously have more of this color than we do the rest. So there's a big difference. I'm going to add a little bit more, but I'm not going to use all this up. This is not cheap stuff. The Liquitex stuff, the mediums are not cheap for any of them, the pouring mediums or any of it. I do love their gloss varnish, and I use it quite often, and it goes a long way, but it is expensive. So anyway, I've got some pearlescent medium in that. But I just wanted to show you what it looked like. It's a box. It was on the end of an aisle. It wasn't in the aisle with the paints. It was at the end of an aisle with a bunch of craft sets. And that's where I found this pearlescent tubes. So my typical ratio with any thing I've been doing here lately is 1 part paint to 1 part Floetrol. And that's my big jug here, Floetrol latex based. And because this one has so much paint, these are 5-ounce cups. These are 5 ounces that I'm using. This one's going to have way more than the others. But you basically just mix in your Floetrol with your color. You do this first before you add any water. This way the Floetrol and the paint can bind together first, and then you add your water afterwards. And you want it to pour off your stick like warm honey. And this is dripping off my stick. It's not nearly thin enough. And I have my bottle of H2O. I'm just going to do this one for you, and then the others I'm going to add the Floetrol to the color, and there'll be less than 1 ounce for each one, and add the water, because these are thicker paints because they have the iridescent medium in them, and because they're in tubes. They come out much thicker than what you get out of a bottle, so I'm definitely going to have to add water to each of these as well to make them more fluid. And there's a clump right there, and I know that's Floetrol. But I can always see, when I'm stirring my paints, I can always see Floetrol if it clumps up. People complain that their Floetrol gets real clumped up and they have to strain it. And I've never strained my Floetrol. And I wonder oftentimes if it's the temperature that the Floetrol is stored in. Possibly mine is in my home, so it stays at a pretty even keel temperature of, 72 to 74 degrees, something like that. I'm wondering if their Floetrol is getting too warm or too cold, and that might make it do funny things inside the jug. But I have never had to strain my Floetrol. But I can usually, if I'm stirring it, I can usually see it off of my stick. It'll be clumped up on my stick, and that's how I discover it. So you can see that kind of, it pours off the stick in a stream. That's what you want. So I'm going to add Floetrol first to all these, stir it, and then add the water. And I'm going to speed through that process, and we'll be back in a minute. I also keep a small bottle of Floetrol if I just need a little. Okay, I've got all of my colors mixed with the Floetrol and water, and like I said, tube paints that are in the tubes are so much different from a bottle of craft paint. I typically use another brand, and they're very fluid, and when you put something in from a tube, it's thick and creamy and rich, and you have to add, even though you're doing the same ratio of Floetrol, paint to Floetrol, 1:1, you have to add a lot more water, but it's still not, I would say it's 10% water maybe. It's still not a lot. And I was just going to note that the white, which is really kind of a cream color, it's pearl. It's a pearl color. It's really pretty. The white that I'm going to use on the canvas is a brighter white than this. The white pearl is like a creamy pearl. The blue looks very pearly. The orange looks very shimmery and pearly. The yellow, not so much. I guess it does look a little pearly. These were the colors I liked the least as far as how they mixed up. Like the purple has almost a little bit of a more, it's not glitter, but it has that effect of, you see more particles of whatever it is that they put in it to make it give the shimmer. The green you can barely see, but it's kind of shimmery. And the pink is, I would say it was probably the least thick of all the colors for some reason. And you can see the shimmer in it, but seeing that there's a little clump of Floetrol on the end of my stick. And so this is my full baking pan that I use all the time, that once you have your drips dry in it, you can peel it right out and use it over and over. You don't have to replace it. And I have silicone, and that's traditionally what I use is silicone. But I've really enjoyed the coconut milk. It smells super good. It doesn't smell like coconut. I'm not a big coconut fan, but it smells really good. And I'm going to put a squirt into each cup. This is by OGX. It's Anti-Breakage Serum for your hair. Just a couple of swirls. That's it. They say less is more with silicone or whatever, and I'm notorious for bottles of paint, squeeze bottles, and me shaking them all the time and keeping paint stored in them. And so I have a lot of sales, but you know, a lot of times they can be smaller. So with it being a fresh batch of mixed paint, hopefully it will be some bigger sales. So I'm going to move these this way. We might as well. I might as well just go ahead and pour the cups that I'm going to dump. And I know when I have mixed paints up and the colors together, I do not like green and orange together. They make a very not pretty color, almost brownish, you know. So I don't ever want my green and orange to kind of be mixed on top of each other. I am going to do one more. Okay. So this one, I'm going to leave the orange out, probably the pink. And I don't know if I'll use the yellow or not, but I loved the way those were looking together. So I'm going to start with a little bit of white because I don't have as much pearl left. So a little bit of pearl. We'll go with purple. Blue. Some turquoise. Green. I'll put a little bit of yellow. And the pearl. The white. Blue. Turquoise. Green. A little bit of yellow. A little bit of white. Go back to the turquoise. Blue. I'm going to end with the purple. We'll see what this does. So we're going to go back and add the white on the canvas first. Okay. Why not do the tree ring? It's got silicone in it, so it's gonna have its cells, but you kind of never know what something's going to look like, so you might as well go for it, right? It's pretty bland. I probably should have just poured it like a dirty pour, and that might have been more satisfying to me. So we're just going to play. It's all about enjoying what you do, right? That's why I paint. It's for the pure joy of it. If I can't have joy from it, why do I do it? I've been an artist for 20 years, but if it doesn't bring me joy and bring joy to other people, I don't want to do it. And I absolutely love to paint. So we're just going to see what happens. I don't know. Just making a shape. Just the thing about pouring out of cups is you get a much thicker line that you can't control, and that's why I like pouring out of bottles, because you can kind of contain it a little bit better. Not, you know, not 100%, but you have just I must have drugged my cup through there. Go back over that. I'm not messing up the pattern in a way. So we don't have any orange or pink in the middle of it. I'm gonna just put a little bit. I do love colors, and I love the rainbow effect. It's just the way nature, you know, like a rainbow, it's just the way it kind of colors, the spectrum of the colors go. So what I was thinking about doing was swiping out, but now I think I want to come in, and I'll probably totally mess up the whole thing, but I want to cover some of this blandness here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this pearl, and I don't know if this is going to work or not. we're going to see. So I have my 2 scrapers. I'm trying to decide. Okay, so it's easier for me to do it a certain direction. So I'm turning it. And now I can tell that the pearl is pretty, but I should have used white because the white has a stronger contrast. So we'll just keep working on it. Just play and see what happens. I don't like those little streaks of orange or whatever that dripped away, so I'm just trying to get rid of those. This one here, I'm using the bigger one. Oh, that's so pretty. Gotta find something to put this on. I had a big piece of thick plastic that covered canvases that came in a package. It was on the top of the first canvas, and then there was plastic around it, but this nice thick piece I've been cutting piece by piece. So I've got me a piece here. And that way I can, ooh, it's wet. This is very fluid. I can swipe my paint onto here. I'm totally covering that up. This may be a total do-over canvas, I don't know. It's got a lot of paint on it. But I'm just experimenting, seeing what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and take it and swipe it all in the middle, towards the middle. It's kind of fun to swipe with the paper towel, because when you swipe and lift it up, it's off. When you're doing a tool, it will drip the paint back on, so you have to be really careful about that. So you have to make sure not to drip on your canvas. Put some heat on it and see what it does. And also I have this whole piece of plastic. So this is pretty awful. It just totally didn't go in the direction I wanted it to. Am I surprised? No. Because it's always going to be a surprise. So I'm basically just adding some colors here. I'm going to do something in the middle here. I don't know what, but it's just screaming help. Let's see. It wasn't level, so it was going this way. Oops. Nope. Didn't go like I planned either. Don't have any more purple. Well, I guess I could add a little pink. That'll kind of make purple there. This one is so ugly, it's bizarre. But, and I want, when I post this on YouTube, I'm sure people are going to comment about, oh, you should have stopped, you should have never done this or that. But you know, you don't learn from your mistakes unless you make the mistakes. And believe me, I've made mistakes. So, I'm not afraid to own up to my mistakes. But you learn from your mistakes, and it makes you stronger. So, let's see. Kind of interesting. Come on, blue. Give me some more blue. Some of y'all might be in like total pain right now watching me like, oh, this is excruciating. So, we'll just see what happens. Got plenty of the pink, so let me do some more pink. Just get to doodle and pretend you're a kid and you don't know what the heck you're doing and you don't care, right? Isn't that what kids kind of think like? There's no fear. And don't we all have fear? Fear of failure and this and that and the other. So, I'm going to do, oops, I didn't mean to do that on the blue one. Just random ones. You can see the pearl in these, and it's really pretty. I don't know how it's going to dry. It might dry pretty nice, and then it probably would look really beautiful with some resin over it. I'm doing yellow, where I put the orange. So pink, orange, and yellow. That one I accidentally put on the blue dot. Okay. And then I'm going to do this pearl color on top of the pink. Now, trying to decide. The pearl just doesn't show up as much. So now I'm going to do some little random white dots. There's some pretty cells going on there where the swiping occurred. So I don't want to mess those up. Let's see. Splashing colors here. Take a toothpick here and fan it out a little bit. Probably by the time this thing dries, it's not going to look anything like it does now because it's so wet with paint, you know? So you almost really can't tell what it's going to look like anyway. But I was just trying to cover up the ugly, and maybe I covered the ugly with more ugly. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when it dries what it looks like. When I post my pictures at the end of my video, or, you know, if I post them on Facebook or whatever, it's always dry. I don't post wet pictures because that's never how they end up looking, and I want you to see the finished effect, like it really ended. You know, how it really looked when it dried. So I have to wait until the next day or so to post the picture at the end of the video after I've edited it and all that. So slinging paint here, just for fun. Sometimes it's fun to fling paint. It kind of looks like a little bit like a spring bouquet, doesn't it? I want to get some green in there. Maybe, you know, it just kind of looks like some leaves. And they will probably disappear into all the colors, but I'm trying to bring a little happy green back in. And you know, blue and yellow make green, right? Let's just see. Let's see if this works. I probably don't have enough blue in here. See if I can I was going to see if I can get me a little bit of a darker green. Yeah, it's darker. Kind of olivey yellow green. So we'll stick it where we put the other greens. As if it were part of the leaf. I don't know. They don't look like happy leaves though for some reason. Put a little highlight of yellow on them. See, this is not rocket science here. You know, you're just giving the illusion of something. So that's kind of what I'm doing, just giving the illusion of a leaf. So I guess I should just leave it, right? Y'all are saying step away, step away, step away. Just getting my white on here on some thin areas so it doesn't, so you can't see down to the bare canvas. But I'm trying to get these colors to kind of fan out too, because we want it to feel similar in all the areas. stick a little more color in this corner. It doesn't look so happy. This is the pearl. I'm going to call this one a spring bouquet. I can tell already. That's going to be the name. So here's the one corner. Here's the corners. And then here's the center. And like I said, there's a lot of paint here, so it will probably change a whole lot. But it was kind of fun to do, just to experiment. It started with a tree ring. I should have done a dirty pour. Then I swiped inward, and then I added the color. So you can keep doing whatever you want to do to try to bring some life into your painting. If you feel like it's too dull, then put the color straight in and play. And blow on it and swipe it and do things that you think will bring it along. It was, I thought, one of the ugliest ones I've done, but it turned out pretty nice as far as colors, and it feels colorful, and it's crazy, busy, but I like it. I hope you do. If you do, give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel.